So FNCS has just kicked off and Qualifier 1 is underway. Now what I'm going to be covering is the 7 teams that have moved from EU over to NA solely for NA FNCS this season, and which of these 7 teams I think has the best chance of taking home that FNCS victory crown. These include big names such as Vino, Tayson and Mongol and Savage. I'm going to cover that all in today's video. If you do enjoy, please make sure to smash a like and also subscribe. We're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you do want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that button. Without further ado, let's get straight underway. Okay, so to start off this video, I'm going to go through each of these 7 teams and where they're landing at the moment and where they'll be landing come grand finals. Starting off, we have Mongol and Savage, who have changed their drop from the last 2 seasons because they were landing at that Amazon Parcel Fulfillment Center. They're now landing a split on the north side of Cliffside Lodge. Next up, we have Vino and Clicks. They're landing at Sandy Steps. After them, we have arguably one of the bigger names again, and that's Tayson and the Omzo. Now, they're landing at the Kami split, obviously that Seti and Kami are playing over on EU. This contains P-Boys HQ, Orchard Station, and the Rec Mill. So a very good drop, which has done both Kami and Tayson well so far this season. Next up, we have Pink and Miro. They're landing on the west side of Grim Gate, meaning they're going to get access to all the loot from Charon's Crossing. We've seen teams do well out of there in previous seasons, such as Canada and Cooper. After that, we have Blaha and Mixon, who are landing at Summit Temple and Summit Base Camp on the east side of the map. After them, we have Quanti and Yapko, who are landing at Research Rock in the very bottom east corner of the map. Again, we've seen 2 teams do well out of this, like Batman Booga that won the Duo Cash Cup from Research Rock. And finally, we have Kylie and Vert, who are landing Mount Olympus. Now I feel it's important to talk about the recent Duo Cash Cup form of all these teams, because we're lucky enough that all 7 of these teams actually made the recent Duo Cash Cup, obviously being the last one before the first FNCS qualifier, which has now got underway. Starting off again with Mongol and Savage. Now they placed in 15th, but actually this is quite a respectable result because they only played 5 of the 6 games, as unfortunately they didn't load in. This looks really promising for their hopes when it comes to FNCS this season. After this, we have Vino and Clicks. Now they got 22nd in the Duo Cash Cup 2 weeks ago, and they've only got a 20th this week. Whilst it is an improvement, they're still struggling to make top 5s and really get the most out of them end games when they get into the final portion of the game. After this, we have Tayson and Omzo. Now, what a story this is for them, as they won the recent Duo Cash Cup. That's going to give them massive confidence going into FNCS Qualifier 1, and they did it with some insane consistency, coming top 8 teams in every single one of their 6 games. After this, we have Pink and Miro. Now, again, they come in 22nd, but they had a similar problem to Mongol and Savage, where they only played 5 games as they didn't load into a game. They did take a death off spawn, obviously where they're landing on the west side of Grim Gate, but that wasn't too much of a big deal. They just couldn't convert fully and ended up in 22nd. After this, we have Blaha and Mixon. Now, this is a pretty disappointing result for Blaha and Mixon, coming in 34th, but they really struggled to get off spawn due to the fact that they were triple contested at Summit Base Camp where they were landing, and there just simply isn't enough loot there, so if they were to get off spawn anyway, they would have been completely shambles, but like I said, they often went down off spawn. Then we had Quanti and Yapko, who got a pretty promising result in 16th, including a 7-kill win. Now, this is promising coming into FNCS, where they're going to need to get lots of wins and obviously convert the final part of that game. However, Quanti and Yapko, minus the win, did struggle a little bit in the mid-game, so that's definitely something for them to work on in the future. And finally, we have Kylie and Vert. Now, this is arguably the most surprising result of the day, as they get a 4th overall. This is quite an underrated team from EU that moved over to NA, and they got an 11 elim win and a 5-kill second, so very good consistency in the final portion of the game for Kylie and Vert. Okay, so now I've covered both the drop spots and recent Duo Cash Cup form of all these 7 teams. I'm actually going to talk through which team I think has the best chance of winning NAF and CS. Now, starting off again, we're going to go for Mongol and Savage, and I want to make clear that everything I'm going to say is going to be my own thoughts, opinions, and predictions. If you do feel different than me, please feel free to share that in the comments down below, and I will get back to you about your opinion. But anyway, starting off with Mongol and Savage, I do think they're going to make grand finals. The recent Duo Cash Cup, they did look really good, and a 15th in 5 games is very, very impressive. I honestly think they actually have a better chance than they did on EU in the first 2 seasons, obviously only making grands in season 1 and not getting the most promising of finishes, and not even making grands at all in season 2, but I think this is the best they've looked, especially Mongol is really picking up and playing well this season. I think they have a chance of coming top 20 on NA this season. I don't quite think they'll make the land spot, but I think they'll be competitive. After this, we have Vino and Clicks. Now, I have already made a video on these. If you haven't already, please feel free to check that out at the end of this video. I'll pop that on the end screen. But I do obviously think Vino and Clicks are going to make grand finals. However, I would like to change my opinion. I think they're going to struggle to make top 10 teams. We've already seen them in 2 tournaments of set lobbies, and both times they've been unable to come lower than a 20th place, which isn't great for a team with such good fighting quality and a team with such good caliber such as Vino and Clix. I do think they have a chance at getting in the top 10 like I said in my last video, but at the moment I'm leaning more towards like a top 15 finish. Furthermore, we have Tayson and Eomzo. Now, Tayson and Eomzo have been playing really well. Tayson, we know, is obviously one of the GOATs of Fortnite. Eomzo is incredibly consistent with Rise prior to playing with Tayson. Obviously, they have just won the recent Duo Cash Cup, so that's great to show that they're playing really consistently in these set lobby formats. And I think if I'm going to pick a team from EU to win NA, FNCS, this is the team. As with Tayson, I think Tayson could potentially become another multi-region champ like Mars and take it home on NA, FNCS. If not, I think they're definitely a top 3 shout. So this is a very safe prediction that I think Tayson and Eomzo will come in the top 3 if they can find the consistency which they found about 2 days ago in the Duo Cash Cup. Next up, we have Pink and Miro. Now, I think this is a little bit of an underdog team. Again, not many people are focusing on them too much just because Miro has been a bit quiet and Pink hasn't been doing too much either. But they're coming off the back of a 22nd in the recent Duo Cash Cup. But again, we have to remember this was only in 5 games. If they could have got a good 6th game, you never know. This could have been like a top 10. I'm predicting Pink and Miro to have a top 10 in Grands and potentially make that LAN at the end of the year. That's all I really have to say on Pink and Miro, but again, we will just have to see what happens there. But I like their drop spot on the west side of Grimgate, and I give them a good chance to do well, especially Miro. He always shows up in FNCS Grand Final lobbies. After this, we have Blaha and Mixon. Now, this is going to be the team that I'm sort of going to say is going to be a bit of a flop on an FNCS this season. I think they're going to struggle in heats, whether this is lower or upper bracket. I think they're going to struggle. And even if they do qualify to Grands, I don't see them getting better than the 30th place personally. They had a disappointing recent performance in the Duo Cash Cup finals and struggled to get off spawn. If they're contested like this throughout heats and especially in Grand Finals, I think this team's really going to struggle. Like I say, no better than the 30th place, even if they do make Grand Finals. Moving on from there, we have Quanti and Yapko. Now, this is going to be a bit of an underdog prediction for me. Again, they got 16th in the recent Duo Cash Cup finals. Obviously, that's 7 kill win, meaning they do have the potential to dominate these lobbies. Obviously, we didn't have Peter and Poyo in the Duo Cash Cup finals this week as they had a really bad performance, but I don't think that's too relevant in terms of like not showing a true representation of how these teams are going to perform when it comes to FNCS. Quanti and Yapko, I'm going to say, are going to qualify to Grand Finals and potentially could even get a top 15. That's going to be my prediction. Yes, it is a little bit bold, but if they do get unconned off spawn at Research Rock, then we will have to see how they can get on. But obviously, we do know that Batman Booga is contesting them, and they just won a recent Duo Cash Cup 2 weeks ago. So again, this could cause an issue if Batman Booga does make Grand Finals. Then he will be contesting Quanti and Yapko, meaning they're most likely to have a much worse performance in Grand Finals. Finally, I want to talk about Kylie and Vert. Now, this is going to be what I'm going to call my underdog team. A 4th in the recent Duo Cash Cup finals has really inspired me to think that this team could go all the way. Not potentially win the titles, but definitely get that top 10 placement to go to LAN. And what a story this would be for Kylie and Vert, who, let's face it, don't really get too much attention in the scene, but after getting a 5 kill second and 11 elim win in the Duo Cash Cup, they've shown they can do it on NA Central. They've shown they know how to dominate these lobbies. And I'm definitely going to go a top 10, potentially even a top 5 if they perform really well over the 2 days and have a strong day too. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you've dropped a like and subscribed as more of these update videos are coming soon throughout the course of FNCS. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.